Back for another Milk Crate Business Moments podcast, and thanks for joining me. Today, I'd like to introduce you to Anne Crook. And Anne is really, I was reading your bio, Anne, and it was from breath to death, right? And I
Yes.
thought, as I read your bio, I'm like, wow, you really do, right? From being a doula to a grief counselor and everything in between from your bio, you are like the healthcare princess.
Thank you.
You're I mean, everything healthcare, right?
Yes. Yes.
That was the feeling I got from you. You're probably like, what, a degree or 2 from a doctor.
Well, not exactly, but I am a certified Spanish medical interpreter, so that
Woo!
that is something that informs me in healthcare as well.
Oh, well, that's very cool. But today, what I really wanted to talk to you after you and I talked recently a month or so ago, and you had told me your story, and it was, and we named it there. I reignited my passion after my life turned upside down, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I would love to hear your story.
Yeah. So, where would you like me to start in light of that title?
Well,
That's a big title.
well, why don't you start about where your life turned upside down and how you got back on track?
Okay, that's
Okay,
great.
let's do that.
So, let's rewind back 4 years, back to 2018, a little more than 4 years ago, actually. Back in the spring of 2018, April of 2018 was the month of my birthday, my 48th birthday. And I kind of got hit by a two by four. I've been a health coach since 2011, 2012, really live and breathe health and wellness. And I had struggled with some other chronic health issues like hypothyroid and kind of got that under control and was doing pretty well. But then I had my biggest wake up call in April of 2018. I was diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer.
Mhm.
And that was a word that I did not identify with. And it was just kind of, wow, deer in the headlights moment. And so I had to kind of wrap myself around that awful C word that nobody wants to hear
Sure.
and realize that this is really happening. And so I think what helped me to move past that diagnosis was really creating a healing, growth oriented mindset of how can I learn from this and become the best version of myself and clean up any blind spots that I might have. So 2018 was really about learning everything I could about what created that lump, and not just physically from things like estrogen dominance and rebalancing my gut health, which, as we know, 70% of our immune system is in our gut, but also looking at the emotional component that played into that. And the other huge thing that happened, kind of on the heels of that diagnosis, is I was engaged to be married with my partner 5 years and ultimately broke off my engagement for marriage. In the right when COVID started. So around March of 2020, because we just had different visions for our lifestyles moving forward. And he wanted to live one place for the rest of his life, and I wanted to live another. And so I went through a lot of grief, just kind of
Oh,
navigating through that diagnosis and breaking off my engagement. But the good news is it was an amicable breakup. We're still dear friends, and now I am with the love of my life. So,
well, that's nice to hear, right?
yes,
That's nice to hear. Are you living where you wanna live?
I am living where I want to live, and I'm in my happy place,
Ah,
most definitely.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, that does sound like a really how long was the span between where you found out you got the cancer diagnosis and then you broke up with your partner?
Yes. So the cancer diagnosis was in April of 2018. And my former partner and I did not get engaged actually till the fall, to August of 2019. So like a year later.
Oh, okay.
But there was a lot of moving parts going on in that relationship, and our engagement took place for 6 months. And I think there was just something deep inside of me that knew this doesn't feel right. We have a very different vision for our lives, and it was just hard to come to the courage of th- saying, "Oh my gosh, I don't think this is going to work." And I realized through that experience of it's more important to my uncle, actually, my late uncle, used to say to me, "To thine own self be true." And what I realized is that yes, I had a dream of marriage and being settled down with a wonderful partner, but it's more important to be true to my soul. And I realized if marriage requires me going to live somewhere for the rest of my life that just doesn't feel in alignment for me, then that's kind of a betrayal of my own soul's truth. And so I really had to listen to what that was, and I really hit a rock bottom, I'd say, at the
Good.
beginning of COVID, around March of 2020. I really hit a rock bottom and had to work through not only the grief of letting go of that partnership, but also just some grief of childhood, just some childhood things that I feel like kind of came up with the breast cancer diagnosis that I really had to take a deeper look at.
Mhm.
So it was kind of all just the perfect storm happening at once, and it really was a feeling of my life has been turned upside down.
Well, there's so many things I wanna talk about here because, that 6 months later, right, you're probably well into the healing of the cancer or treatment or whatever you decided to do. So, did you ever go back into remission?
Yes, I'm so glad to say that I did. I mean, I think I just have always had. I come from a medical family. My dad's a doctor, and my grandfather a doctor, uncle doctor, and I just think I've always had that mindset of just learning about the human physiology and how it works. It fascinates me, and so I just jumped on board of learning everything I could, and I attended a conference in November of 2018 that really empowered me to see cancer as a message from my body and not see it as the enemy, but see it as this doctor I studied with described it as a message of love, a tap on the shoulder that something's out of balance. I'm getting your attention, and now what are you going to do with this opportunity? So when I shifted into that mindset, it helped me see that there's no coincidence here. And now I get to recreate my life in align. I was already in alignment in a lot of ways, but there were some things that had fallen out of alignment in 2018. And so it got me back in alignment. And now I'm happy to say I'm living from my passion and I'm so happy.
Oh, I'm so well, you know what makes me happy about that is I was just talking to actually 2 different people today, and we were talking about the fact that somewhere between 45 and 55, a lot of women either they they find that they're no longer contented with where they're at in their life. I know I went through that at 53, right?
Hmm.
So that and it sounds kind of like that's probably where you were. It's like you get to that be that age and you're like, I'm not settling anymore.
Right. Exactly. Like I'm 52. And I feel like I really have shifted from surviving to thriving. I'm in the happiest place I've ever been right now. But it really took me going through this dark night of the soul, what I like to call it, at age 48, where I had to dig up some deep stuff. And that's why I love the metaphor of a butterfly. You kind of go into this cocoon when you're going through a transformation, and it feels hard and scary when you're in there. But when you emerge on the other side, it's like, wow, okay, I can see the bigger picture now.
And don't you wish this for every woman, right? That
Yeah.
because I think one of the women I was talking to today was mentioning somebody she'd met that a woman had gone through some of this transformation and immediately thought she needed a divorce, right?
Mm. Hmm.
And so which made me kinda I think what that made me think about that today. And then, but I asked the question, I'm like, "Did she really need a divorce, or was she causing or was she not satisfied with where she was at, thinking she had to get divorced in order to achieve that?" Right?
Right. Right.
So, and I think a lot of women do think that, and sometimes I think it's not necessarily that, and I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about I think that they think they need to get a divorce in order to be happy
Right.
because they're not happy on the inside.
Right.
So for you for noticing that, and honestly, that would probably be a deal breaker for me too. At that age, it's like I don't want to live someplace where I'm not going to be comfortable.
Right. Like you need, I think for me personally, maybe it's not this way for everybody, but I really need to feel a connection to my surroundings
Yeah.
and a place that brings that really feels like my soul can thrive here. And,
Well, where
I
is that?
what
Where
is
where is that? Where did you end up?
well, so I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, but I really love the Smoky Blue Ridge Mountains. The Southern Appalachian Mountains just really inspire me, and I've been spending a lot of time this summer in East Tennessee, Western North Carolina, um, Asheville, North Carolina, or Eastern Tennessee. Just that whole area of these Smoky Mountains. And I also lived out in Colorado for 12 years in the Rocky Mountains. And I realized I really love four seasons. I really thrive in the mountains. I do love the ocean, but I just feel like I'm a woman of four seasons, and I just love the Southern Appalachian Mountains. So
Wow. It is beautiful there. I was in Asheville in June,
yes,
and it was crazy driving. I don't like to drive through those mountains, right? It makes me
right,
nervous, and I should not be driving through there, but
yeah,
but you're right, it is really beautiful there.
yes,
And Colorado's beautiful too, though, so it's
yes,
the most beautiful place I've ever been.
yes, yes.
So, alright, so you were moving through 2020 here, you're like, you're letting go. How did you find your passion?
Oh, well, I had already found my passion actually before the milk crate moment, life turned upside down. I was already living my passion actually. But I feel like what happened in around 2018, 2019 is I kind of got disconnected from that.
Okay,
And I was doing what call my bonus career as a Spanish medical interpreter, which I also enjoy, but I feel like it's not my greatest creative expression in the world. My wellness business is my greatest creative expression. So I had just kind of put my wellness business on the side, was just dealing with getting through that cancer diagnosis and doing my other work to pay the bills, but just feeling kind of uninspired and just not feeling like my creative expression was at full capacity. So something that actually really helped me shift back into my creative passion is getting involved with this wonderful institute called the Institute for the Study of Birth, Breath, and Death. This is where the breath and birth and death come into play here. And the director is just a wonderful woman, Amy Wright Glenn, and she lives in Asheville, North Carolina. And she founded this institute back in 2015, I believe. We have over 1,000 members around the world, and she invited me to be a part of her consultant training in 2020, right when I broke off my engagement.
okay,
And I was trained I'd already become a certified integrative health coach in 2012, but I was trained to be a consultant to hold space for people that are going through grief and loss and significant life changes. And so once I got that training under my belt, I started holding space for people that were also going through grief and loss. And it just totally made me remember my heart's work in this world, which is not just helping people with their health and wellness, but also bringing in the emotional healing piece and the more heart based kind of spiritual piece, I like to call it, creating a safe and sacred container for people to find their own deeper truth. So,
cool. So, well, let's
mhm.
talk about, because there's so much in your bio there. What is it that you're doing today, and how are you helping people today?
So today, I'm offering a variety of different services for my clients. Private clients work with me on in two types of ways. I offer coaching packages, a 3 month and a 6 month, where I combine health coaching, which involves nutritional and lifestyle guidance and recommendations for lab work, and really diving deep into root causes of chronic health issues. It's from a functional medicine sort of approach, and I combine that with the holding space sessions. And so we also weave in several sessions that look at the emotional healing that wants to come out. And I remind my clients it's not therapy. It's really holding a safe space for them to turn towards their body. We use our breath, partner with the body to kind of see like what is being stored in the tissues. The issues are in our tissues, right? So turning towards those emotions and making deeper meaning making so they can integrate them moving forward. Now, if a client wants to work with me privately just on that piece and not do health coaching, I also offer just holding space sessions, the 4 pack. And then, in addition to the private work I do with clients, I offer a support group twice a year called Nourishing Resiliency through the Institute, where we hold space as a group. And I do that with a wonderful woman who's also a consultant, and she and I partner together, and we we have a group up to 12 people. Our next group launches in January, and it's called Nourishing Resiliency, Holding Space for Difficult Emotions. And what's beautiful about the group work is that when people share authentically, there's a lot of healing that happens just from our members hearing other people's stories
Mhm.
and realizing they're not alone. And so it's a different kind of holding space because it's group work versus a private session.
Well, that's very cool. And if somebody was interested in what you're doing right now, how could they get hold of you?
Well, a great way to get a hold of me is my website, and that's
I'm gonna
into
I'm gonna pop your email too up here, but go
oh,
ahead.
good. Yes, and they can email me directly, absolutely. And then they can go to my website, which is www.integrativeradiance.com, and that's an IVE, Integrative Radiance. On there, they can see everything about what I offer. They can see my coaching packages, my holding space work. And then I also co founded a wonderful community called the Breast Connection, which just launched in February. It's an online community where three of us have gone through breast cancer, have created these free online Zoom events the second Tuesday of each month to build a healing community around breast health, and not only creating greater awareness around what it is to have, good health, but also providing support. It's a heart-based community. We invite guest speakers on. And then this next month, well, actually this month in October on the 11th, we're doing a open mic night. So people can come on and share their own stories.
Uh, did you say that was a free group?
Yes. So the Zoom events are a free group. It's only for 1 hour. It's from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern, the second Tuesday of each month. And we've decided to make these groups free for the time being because we really want to build up our community and really want to build our brand. So we've been offering these free Zoom gatherings for about 6 months now. And eventually, our dream is to hold retreats, wellness retreats in person. But at this time, it's a great opportunity for people to join us at no charge.
Something I've never done here. Let's look and see. Is there a way? Can you go in the chat and type in the name of your Facebook group so we can put that out there? Because, gosh, there's not a week that goes by that you don't hear of a woman that you know being diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh my gosh! And I'm so glad we're talking about this now because this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month as we speak.
Okay, I forgot about that, but yeah, but I do think that if we can leave a resource here, I would feel good about that. I know you would feel good about that. Uh,
Absolutely.
I don't know if you put it in the private chat, I think I can see it. If you see the private chat, I've never used this before, and so I don't know exactly what will happen here. But if I get it, I can most certainly drop it in there.
Yes. So
So
would you? I'm happy to put in our email address for the Breast Connection.
that would be fine.
Okay. And people can contact us there, and we can send out. We have a mailing list and a YouTube channel where people can see our former guest speakers. And so, what I'll do is I'll put in our email, and if people want to reach out to us there,
Okay.
can you
Okay.
see that?
Yep, I have it over here. So
Yes.
I am going to drop it over here, which looks like it will show up on the there we go. How's that?
Yay.
So you can see that, right?
Breastconnectioncommunity@gmail.com.
Yeah, so they should email you in order to get access to the Facebook group, and which I think is probably, since this is going out over multiple platforms, is a much better way to do it, Anne. Good job.
Yes. 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 And I would love for anybody interested to join us on October 11th from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. We can send them the YouTube channel link and
The
put them
next
on our
meeting, that's the
what
next meeting, October 11th.
October 11th. It's yes, it's on a Tuesday, actually next Tuesday, and it's from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And this is going to be, we're going to be offering these open mic nights every other month because the one we hosted in July was such a huge success and people are just hungry to connect and share their stories. And just as a reminder, you don't need to have had breast cancer to be a part of this group. It's for anybody that wants to feel the healing power of a community. We do have an emphasis on breast health, but it's not just about breast health. It's about all aspects of our health and well-being, and also looking at the emotional piece, the self-love, self-care, what that means. So our guest speakers speak on a wide variety of topics.
Do you have people, and I'm just asking, not because I have a need, but because it just popped into my head. Do you have support for people maybe who've lost somebody to breast cancer in
We
your
do.
community?
We do. I mean, so we, so there's the support of the community. I mean, we can also refer out if somebody's really, like, for example, I'll just give an example. In July, we had somebody share in our open mic night that is dealing with stage 4 breast cancer right now.
Okay.
And was speaking from her backyard, just talking about how amazing it was to be able to plug into this community right from her backyard and feel that support.
Mm,
Um, but if somebody is dealing with a loss, or they've lost a loved one, we can certainly give referrals and resources. But we don't offer that therapy. We
right.
just offer the support of the healing community.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That's so
Yeah.
beautiful. Well, is there anything else you would like to share with everybody here before we go?
Well, I think what I'm really passionate about, and I'm actually giving a talk at the Institute Fall Retreat on this topic later this month, is really supporting people to shift from surviving to thriving, because I truly believe that our adversities we go through in life, like me going through breast cancer is just my example of one of those, but we all have stories of pain that can be channeled into a greater purpose. And so I think the heart of my work is supporting people to really tap into, well, how can this adversity or this pain point that you've gone through become your greater purpose? And how can you shift from moving into a better version of your most authentic self from that experience? And so that's what I hope to inspire in others.
I love that. That's beautiful. And thank you for doing that because I know there's so many women out there who are suffering right now and probably feel like they don't have anyone to support them.
Mm,
So I do think that what you're doing is just an amazing thing there. And if I were you, anybody here watching, I would just get AnnCrook@gmail.com and contact her. Ann with an E, right?
yes, and
Is
with an E, and
yeah,
Crook without.
yeah. Say it again.
So it's Ann with an E and Crook is without an E. So
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
yes, but my Gmail address is just a great direct way to connect with me.
Right, right. Okay, well, and I want to thank you so much for being here today because this did not go the way I thought it might go today. And honestly, I told you at the beginning, right? I get to show up and talk to people and just have fun doing this. So I don't know what I expected, but this was not it. And this conversation was not what I expected, but I'm so glad we had it. I think it's
Oh,
a really important one.
me too. And I just want to thank you for the opportunity to show up and speak on your platform. And I would love to hear from anybody that would like to connect.
So reach out to Anne if you know someone or know someone who could use support, or maybe you need support. Please reach out to Anne Crook, ANNECROOK @gmail.com, and she will put you in touch with some amazing resources. And I would have a call with her too if she's open to that. So
Absolutely.
I figured you would be.
Yes.
Anne, thanks so much for being here. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Jean. Have a
Thank you.
great day.
Bye.